Hey, everybody, welcome to the Find and Follow podcast, where we are all about helping you find and follow Jesus in your everyday life. Scott, your host, joined with Kyle, co-host. And today we got special guest on, Nathan Lewellyn. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with us today.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. You guys have a little more history than maybe I have history.
Probably, yeah.
Maybe some people listening, I was just talking to Brent before. He goes, is he related to that Dave guy? Dave Lewellyn? I'm like, well, I don't know about Dave Lewellyn, but I know there's another David Lewellyn out there.
I remember meeting Kyle.
You do?
Yeah.
When was that?
I'm going to guess 2009.
Okay.
Maybe 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there.
Okay.
San Dimas, California.
Oh, college days.
That's all I remember.
That's it?
Actually.
Do you remember
The story.
Do you remember-
I remember what he said to me.
Do you remember riding the beach cruisers?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
wow.
my wife and I had just bought beach cruisers.
Yeah.
And you guys were there that weekend.
Yep.
And David actually broke my wife's beach cruiser. I still give him crap, but he there's a little reflector on the back, and he kicked his leg over to put it on, kicked the reflector off, and so
Cheap reflector. Cheap reflector.
He felt terrible, and I gave him crap. But yeah, so I knew of Nathan and David from youth ministry growing up in Spokane. I mean, you guys have been here forever, and but I was roommates with Nathan's brother Jonathan in college.
Okay, you were roommates.
We were
Okay,
roommates. My second year, I only did 2 years on campus, so I think it was Jonathan's junior year, my senior year. We were roommates.
Yeah. He has nothing but kind words to say, even back then.
There you go. Yeah, he was a great. We were great roommates. For each other.
You could have bad roommate experiences.
My first roommate was terrible.
Yeah.
And it worked out well that we were. I mean, because
he's clean.
And you have a lot of friends that want to be your roommates. Like one of his probably best friends on campus really wanted to be his roommate, and Jonathan was just like, I don't think it's gonna work.
That's smart.
You know, like
Smart,
and we were good friends, but like his best friend was like, yeah, dude, let's do it. And he's like, no, not a good idea.
It may not work out.
That's really smart, actually.
Yeah. So it was. We were. I felt like we were good roommates, and we had a good time at the old Life Pacific University now. So.
Big time. So give us a little introduction. People, maybe there's 3 people listening, don't know you, right?
Yeah.
But married, kids.
Yep.
Why you have a black eye on the right side?
Oh yeah, I got a black eye. If you're listening, this is my second black eye in 4 months.
Oh, in 4 months?
3 months. It's quick, and it's the other eye.
Oh man, you're really asking for it.
It's just I just sports too hard. No, I think I'm just. Here's what I think. I think I'm not as coordinated as I think. So I'm either like leading with my head in these basketball games or doing the wrong things. But I'm married. Been married since 2000. Sometime in the 15.
It's been a wonderful journey. Yes.
Is that right? Yeah.
It feels like forever. It's so good.
We just had a kid. Not just had a kid. We had a kid April 4/3/21, April 3rd, 2021.
No way.
Yes, I'll never forget.
That is great.
Yeah, the nurses were really stoked, and we didn't understand for a little bit. They're like 4/3/21. And then
I'm a bit of a nerd about numbers. So like race bibs and stuff, addresses, phone numbers. Like it gets a little
I'm
crazy.
just happy because
4/3/21. That's awesome.
Like I feel like I'll be older at the doctor, and they'll be like, "What's this child's birthday?" And I'm like, "I got this."
I'm knowing it.
Yeah, but
what?
And then my wife's pregnant again.
Oh right, congrats!
Which is crazy.
And so your first kid is a little boy.
Yep.
What's his Knox?
Yeah, and
that's fun.
He's awesome. He's so fun. We just spent This was the first. I single parented this weekend for the first time. My wife went to Seattle, and honestly, it was a blast. But now he's like attached to me.
We had so much
I'm
fun.
like leaving for work and stuff. It's kind of cool though because he likes me now. But
I think he was probably fond of you before.
Maybe, I don't know.
He's probably getting to that stage though. He's like cluing into more things in life.
Yeah.
Right. He's looking, seeing, and knowing what's happening when you say we're gonna go do this or that's happening.
Yep.
So
And he's got a little personality too, and like he's finally understanding like humor a little bit, and like so he knows what makes us laugh, and then he'll do it honestly too much to where it's like not funny anymore. But I feel like I need to laugh just to be like, no, like keep doing like be funny. Like, yeah, it's funny.
I love that.
And then we're having another boy in November.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, so we just found out last week it's a boy.
That's awesome.
They'll be 19.
Oh, that's like a major reveal here on the podcast.
And actually, we actually haven't gone public with it. So here's the welcome to the.
Should we edit this out?
No,
Should you
this is
text your
great.
wife?
No,
Should we check in on this?
No, I love it. We really actually haven't gone public with it, so we just did.
There you go. We and you did.
Having a boy. There you go.
But they'll be 19 months apart, which is kind of scary. Scary and awesome. Like, it'd be cool. They'll be on like the same AAU teams, booking tea times together and stuff. But also, they'll just get
There you go.
fight.
My brother and I are 21 months, so yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
What about you and your brothers? You guys, I don't even know the ages and stuff. Are you guys closer? Farther apart?
Not really. So I'm the youngest of 6 kids, and so there's basically there's 9 years between me and my oldest sister. So 9 years for 6 kids.
That's pretty tight.
My mom was basically pregnant for a decade. Yeah. I'm not even sure if she knew she was pregnant when she had me. No, I'm just kidding. She definitely knew. But yeah, so we're all pretty close in age, but yeah, not super. I don't know.
Yeah, and then on like during the week and weekends, you're leading some music and other stuff at Summit Church.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm the worship pastor at Summit, and I've been doing that now for 8 years, which is amazing, and it's been really, really cool. And I love the people. I literally just came from a Bible study just on Thursday mornings. Just invite our whole worship team. And by whole, I mean I invite them all, and about 4 of them show up, sometimes 2. But it's so fun and so special. But yeah, so I'm the worship pastor there. I oversee all of the music and just the services and that kind of stuff, and I lead the team that does that. It's amazing.
So you grew up in Ephrata, Washington,
Yeah.
right? And then when did you come to Spokane? Was that?
Yep, 2008.
Again, I feel like I remember like youth ministry stuff. Your brother, like when I was even going here. So did you come here like right after high school?
Yeah, the second I could, I left.
What?
No, I love Ephrata. I'm so grateful that I grew up there. I don't think I'll go back, and that has nothing. That's not like a dig on that, but I am really grateful for everything that kind of came out of that. But then 2008, I came over to Spokane to do an internship. My goal was I was going to do this internship and then go to Bible college after that, and then out of that internship, I ended up getting a ministry job, very, very part-time, but then it just kind of progressed from there. And so, yeah, and then I ended up at Summit in 2013 and just never looked back.
Yeah, I'm just rocking it there.
Yeah.
I mean, afraid of Soap Lake's not horrible.
No.
I just was there last month for 4 days.
Really?
At the old Soap Lake.
Really?
Yeah.
Doing what?
Visiting friends. We
yeah.
meet. They're from Seattle area. We meet up in Soap Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
That's
crazy.
crazy
It's a
that
crazy
you do
thing.
that.
I know when we tell people that they're like,
Yeah, they're like on
where?
vacation.
Where do you rent a house, or where do you stay?
Yeah, I have a buddy who has a house,
Gotcha.
and so
Yep.
they say they leave, and they're like, you can use our house, and then they've got membership to the golf course
okay, I was
there.
gonna ask,
So
yep.
yeah, we do a lot of golfing, hang out.
Lakeview Golf Course.
It's just a beautiful time for a spot to our 3 families to connect.
It's awesome.
And so
Do you
know,
swim?
what?
Do you swim in Soap Lake? So growing up, that
Went there once, and then was like,
so it's smelly. It's
Yeah.
called, and it's interesting. The premise behind Soap Lake is that they're healing waters. So there's all these minerals and everything in. So people will literally come from anywhere. A lot of people are with cancer diagnosis or weird ailments. They'll come and they'll just cake themselves in mud. And they'll spend a weekend in the healing waters of Soap Lake.
Yep.
I'm not sure if it's ever been proven.
I don't know, but it's been a thing for since the 50s.
Yeah.
Little resort, and people worldwide would come.
Yeah.
I mentioned it to somebody here, and they're like, "Oh, did you do the minerals
Yeah.
bath and do the?" I was like, "No, not so much.
Yeah.
I mean, it might work." They're like, "I really want to do that."
I
I'm
know.
like, go for it.
Try
I went down there, and it kind of smelled
Yeah.
like dirty swamp water, and I was like,
But there's also
"Eh."
tons of good lakes or
Correct.
other lakes around there that are nice. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great place to visit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Then come home. Just North Idaho.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Oh yeah.
So we'll jump into more of like worship and music. I'd love
Yeah.
to pick your brain on some of that stuff. But when we have guests on, we always love to hear people's stories of how they found Jesus.
Yeah.
And everyone's got an awesome, unique story. And the transformation that God does inside of us is the same as far as new life and regeneration. But how we get there is kind of different and kind of our take of following Jesus. So love to hear your story on finding Jesus.
I used to be a little insecure about my story because it's not very cool. People are like, oh, I had this crazy lifestyle and now Jesus rescued me or whatever. But now I'm really proud of, not proud of my story, as in I'm proud of something I did. But I grew up as a pastor's kid my entire life, and so my parents pastored, and my dad ended up pastoring a church in Ephrata for 100 years, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Since has left that church, but so church is kind of all I knew. Now that I'm a parent, though, I'm really grateful for the way my parents parented, and they really didn't force us to be kind of your standard church kids. It was always they normalized Jesus in a way that it was around our household. It was like, no, we're Jesus people, and we follow Jesus, but they didn't really let the church influence or impact us in a way I think that it could have. And I'm really grateful for that, because to this day, 5 out of 6 of their children are in full-time ministry. The one who's not in full-time ministry, ironically, is probably the best Christian out of all of us.
But that's remarkable right there.
Yeah, the fact that they're all following Jesus.
Yeah.
That always blows me away. And
Yeah.
anytime you get to any conference where the Llewellyns are, someone's going to say something like that. Your dad's a hero. He's an awesome dude. And so, to have 6 kids who all love Jesus, and then 5 of them who are serving the church. Yeah. Obviously, that testimony, like the fact that, lots of pastors' kids grow up hating the church,
right?
And maybe even loving Jesus, but just not wanting to have anything to do with the church. So for the majority of you guys to want to love and serve the church is super cool.
Yeah,
yeah, and it's a tricky tension, right? As you get in a little more perspective as a parent, to manage that and go, I really want you to follow Jesus. It's the way of life, but then and being part of the local church is important. But forcing that is just going to make resistance happen. And so it's tricky, but like
the expectations that are put on you, but they weren't put on me by my parents, but maybe church members were like, hey, you're the pastor's kid. Like, you shouldn't have done that. Or I thought you'd be better or smarter, or, it's interesting.
Yeah, one of my kids was having some resistance literally as we're going out the door last night to come to Fusion Youth. Yeah. And they just came back from camp. It's a mixed bag of like tired, younger, then the spiritual warfare dynamic of like awesome things at camp, right? And then the expectation of like everything's peachy when you come home and like perfect. Not so much. Yep. And so managing that, like pushing appropriately to go, you'll be glad you did, not because it's a church thing, but because it's following Jesus and opportunity to like use your words for kindness, move forward and not just think of what I can get out of youth and like it's about me, and if I don't want to go, that's fine because it's a me thing. Yeah. It's like, well, what can you do to give to others? Yeah. And like, what if there's somebody from camp there that is looking to connect and they're like new to Jesus, and then like people don't show up and they're like, wait, I thought we were like family. Like, I don't feel like it, so I don't want to.
Wow, that's good.
So it's tricky to push without it being, I don't want to do the church thing or God thing because my parents push me. So So we'll get back to your story. We're hijacking it a little bit.
I love it.
But your siblings, like your dad, is he still on the team there at Summit?
Yeah, so my dad now he's the care pastor at Summit. And he's kind of just he loves it so much. It's insane also. Everybody loves him, and like every day people are like, "Hey, I grabbed coffee with your dad the other day," and like, "Hey, I'm meeting with your dad." And he just gets to hang out with people, love them, goes, he does the hospital visits and the some of the counseling type of stuff. He's living his best life. He loves it.
That's cool.
And then my sister Whitney, she pastors
Mission
Church.
Right?
I couldn't remember because it just changed. She pastors Mission Church in Clarkston, Washington.
Okay. Very cool.
Shout
out to other Mission Church.
I know. She's killing it over there. And then my brother David, he's on the leadership team at Life Center in Spokane, and he oversees the student ministries. Brother Jonathan's on the leadership team, and he's the student ministries pastor in Salem, Oregon. And then my sister Emily, she runs all the hospitality at Summit, and she's married to Grant, who's the lead pastor at Summit. And then me. Those are all the ministry people. And then the one who's the best Christian is over just like doing all the Christian things and being the best mom and stuff in Seattle.
Okay.
You guys got the region
Yeah,
covered.
she's the oldest.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. And she has worked in ministry. And then her husband started working at Google, and she's like, so I don't have to do anything? All right.
Sit, love Jesus, and hang out.
I can just do my sweet spot and whatever I feel like I should be doing. That's cool.
Yeah.
The Llewellyn's got the Northwest covered.
Yeah, it's
wherever
crazy.
you want to go.
It's really weird.
That's super fun.
But yeah, so my story, I remember sitting in the back of an old station wagon. It was like a Buick, and it had kind of like the wood, like that's what we had growing up because we had to have a car for 8 people. And it was like the seats in the back, face away. You're facing out. And my sister Whitney, which if you know her now, it's just like this is the most her thing ever. But she's like, so Nathan, have you ever invited Jesus into your heart? And I'm like as a 6-year-old, I'm like, wait. Like Jesus in my heart. I'm like imagining a little guy like swinging on my ribs, and just like
he's cracking the door open.
Exactly,
What's in there? How do you get in there?
But then she kind of explained to me what that meant. Obviously, I had an idea of what it was to be a Christian and who God was and everything. And so right then and there, prayed and then for the most part
in the backseat of the Buick.
Backseat of the
That's
Buick.
awesome.
Yeah.
And how old is she? About
she was probably 11.
Oh, that's
12.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's great. I mean, just even like my kids coming back from camp, their heart's a little softer for family members that don't know Christ, right? And just the awareness, the spiritual reality of like, oh, that wrecks you a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's super cool at 11
Yeah.
to go, hey, little brother, you need in on this Jesus train.
Yeah.
Like it's not just automatic because we're in the family
For
that
sure.
it's happening. We all got to decide.
Yep.
And that can be one of the tricky things that just can kind of happen in a pastor's home, kind of church ministry. Like, oh yeah, we're all doing this. Like, no, but let's check in with you specifically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, are we just going through motions and kind of the show?
Yep.
And you'll find out when you're 22 that it was never really real.
Yeah.
I think just in church in general, I remember a vivid conversation I had with one of my friends at youth group because I'd been doing the youth group thing for a while, and my friends were doing it. I thought it was cool, and I loved it, and I totally felt like this is cool. And he like legitimately was just like, bro, like, are you actually there? And I was just like, what do you mean? He's like, have you actually accepted Jesus? Have you given your life to Jesus? And I was like, it's a great question. Like I don't know at that, honestly, I don't know at that point if I had or hadn't, but like it paused for me to go, oh, okay, it's not just a going through the motions thing. It's not just my dad's a pastor, I'm going to youth group, I'm done the thing. I can't remember anything else. It's like, I've made a decision that this is who I am and this is what I'm going to do with my life.
Yeah.
And so that's awesome that it came from your big sister.
And well, what's funny is, I mean, after that, I still think I was just like kind of on the shoulders of my parents and family, because you're just young, you don't totally understand everything. And so I just kind of kept going, and I was definitely following Jesus as much as a 7, 8, as much as a kid can. And by the time high school came around, I got into music, started playing the drums and then the bass. And then I was like, I think I like to sing a little bit. And then my dad kind of taught me a couple chords on the guitar. And then next thing you know, I'm learning worship songs and, leading the worship at youth group. And
Are other people in the family musical?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could we put a Llewellyn band together?
I think we could.
Like we got a drummer.
I think I would have to play the drums.
Okay, you carry it. We all know that's the real core of any good band is like you have to have a solid drummer keeping you rolling.
We definitely could. Maybe we should do that as like a.
You guys should do it on a
You
family
put something
reunion.
together for like Foursquare conference,
or for like
something,
my parents' like 50th anniversary.
There you
or
go.
something.
Absolutely. You got
so
some singers, guitar players. I mean, even if you have to loop a
Partridge
track
Family.
or something, put a bass line down for somebody.
I mean, I don't mean this arrogantly at all. I think I'd have to kind of carry a big part of that load. And
for sure.
Well, I would think so, right? Nobody else is doing music full time, so I would hope.
No, but like my brother David, I don't think I'll ever be as good at guitar as him. He's really good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he doesn't really do it anymore.
Okay.
But he's the guy that like, there's an acoustic guitar over there, and he'll sit down and just.
He used to, right? Back in the day.
Yeah.
Because I remember, like, I think my first, like, again, didn't know you, because Lindsay's cousins are the Claires, and they used to come do camps and all that kind of stuff with you guys, and I felt like I remember him playing guitar a lot back in the day.
I would say everybody in my family can sing. Some people just are unwilling to like try or do it publicly too. It's kind of funny,
right?
Yeah.
So high school, you get into music. Is there like a season there or a pivotal moment for you, like following Jesus? Is this like growing your passion, or what part of the music world was in high school was important for you following Jesus?
Yeah, I think I started leading worship, and once again, I don't think I was old enough, wise enough to really understand what I was doing, But I think it was my sophomore year of high school at summer camp. Ironically, Josh Clare's leading worship, and Riverview, yep. The room, the Riverview has this chapel where I think it's like a suspension truss on the floor, something terrifying. Where when you get all those kids jumping, the whole building should have fallen down 100 times.
Yeah, the floor moves and the windows. You can see the windows bowing.
Yeah,
it's super sketchy.
Yeah, so that room, but we're in this moment, and this guy named Andrew Powell, who's now a pastor in Clarkston. but he was a youth leader back then. I didn't really know him at all. But it was a moment of kind of prayer or whatever, I think, after the service, and he came up and he prophesied over me. The first time anybody had ever prophesied over me. I think I probably would have been a little resistant to that, but for whatever reason, it was just totally real. It was like, you just knew. It was just like, oh yeah, because it wasn't showy, it wasn't anything, and he just prayed for me, and he said, I think the Lord's telling me that you're going to be a leader, but not just a leader of leaders. And I kind of took that seriously, and the way that I interpreted that was in the realm of leading worship. And so that's kind of where I think that passion and calling took ground a little bit. And
it's such a cool moment that sometimes we get freaked out about, like, you hear stories like, oh, that would be creepy or weird. But when it's God at work, it feels so right
100%.
and so normal and so comfortable.
Yep.
Even if it's kind of a sensational moment, like even a prophetic word, or if there's a healing or whatever. Just if you've been in those moments where it's truly the Holy Spirit at work, you're like, oh no, this feels right.
Yep.
And it's not weird and creepy and you want to run away. It's our perception sometimes of those things. And sometimes there's stuff we see out there that's just not of God. And people forcing things.
Yep.
But like those moments.
Yeah.
Because how long ago was that? I mean, that's been quite a few years,
that
right?
Was
And
2004 or 5 or whatever.
And that sticks with you like as real as can be.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I texted him recently, maybe a year ago, 2 years ago. And I'm like, you probably don't remember this. I don't think he did. Maybe it never happened, actually.
It was a dream, camp.
I actually just made all that up for this podcast. I wrote a script note.
Okay. Do you have a song you can sing about it? You got some sort of song?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, though. I mean, that's how God uses us on an everyday basis, whereas we're following Jesus, and it has a lot of times way more impact on the recipient.
Yep.
And we're like, I don't know, I was just kind of following God. I felt like I should pray for him.
Yep.
Speak some words, and I've done that before. Like, I know this is God, and I'm praying for him, and it was significant for me, but 100x for that other person.
Well, it's just like preaching or leading worship. You'll have a message or a set list where it's just like, wow, that was terrible, and then you'll get an email or somebody right after service. Oh my gosh, this changed my life. You like God spoke through you, and you're like, wow, that is cool.
Yeah. I'm glad God works.
Definitely him, not me.
Yeah, exactly.
I was not in on that. Yeah.
I always think, for me, like, okay, it's probably more that person, just the receptiveness of that person in that moment or that day of the Holy Spirit just at work, and God's using that, and they're like real more open.
Yep.
Not to discount the work that we do for leading a song or speaking something, but it's like, oh, okay, that's cool that you're being really open to what Jesus wants to do.
Yeah, but when you say work, you guys write messages. I pretty much just play cover songs. I'm in a cover band.
Right? No, that's not true. You guys have done some cool arrangements. I've been in enough sets where you're leading worship that you guys doing some original stuff at Summit too?
Yeah, we are now, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really fun. And,
so that's not a cover.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's true.
And you joke about it, but again, back to the prophecy. Like, you're leading people.
Yeah.
You're leading a group of people in worship. But then again, the way that we do church and the way that you guys do church, I mean, you're collectively leading people.
Yeah.
It's not just about you and getting up there and singing, but leading a group of people, empowering younger people, people on your team, raising people up, musicians and people in your church.
Well, it's something
cool.
I tell our worship leaders all of the time is that anybody could lead a song. Like, literally, there's a lot of people who are good at singing. So anybody can get up there and they can sing a song, and like, good job, you did the things. But like, what we need is worship leaders, that people can read the room, people can sense what the Spirit is doing, people can and just point people's eyes towards Jesus. And I think there's a distinction there.
Absolutely. That's a singer or a worship leader, right? We get any singer that could get a choir kid in high school who knows how to stay on pitch.
Yep.
Come sing this song. Here's the lyrics. Read off the page, right?
Here we
You're
go.
leading people into worship, and you're glorifying God
Yeah.
and helping people understand what that is and leading. That's why we call it a worship leader. You're leading people into worship, and that's way different than singing a song.
I agree.
Again, any high school choir kid could do that.
Yep.
Which is not, I can't do that. I mean,
No, I say
I'm not
not
trying to
everybody.
downplay the fact that the singing, because people who can sing, I couldn't, but
Just do like a little bit right now.
no, I'm good.
No.
Nobody wants
Go
that.
ahead.
We would
It's like, God bless America or something.
Go
Happy
now.
birthday.
Yeah, pick a key.
Yeah.
There we go.
Nope. No one wants that.
So what else? Let's dive into that a little bit. What else are you doing to help worship leaders? Because I think that is a huge distinction, and also with awareness of there's so many shows out there to be a singer, get on, be famous,
Yeah.
right? Get a platform,
Yeah.
be an influencer,
Yeah.
and then you have like this church avenue of like, okay, I could be a, famous musician here and like use this and like, that's not. What else do you think that is key that you've been doing or helping to develop worship leaders and not just song singers or people on a team?
I mostly belittle them, make them feel really small, so their head doesn't get too big. No,
Stay in your lane.
Check the creative ego.
Well, it's interesting because several of our worship leaders do music outside of I would say church music, even Christian music. If you can, that's a whole other topic.
Like, are they in bands gigging around town?
Yeah,
that kind of thing?
Creative music, yeah.
And that's a whole other topic where I don't. Christian music can't be Christian.
Oh yeah,
but
we've been on this. Like,
Yeah.
right. Is the music saved? It's sanctified
exactly.
music.
Yeah.
We've.
Is Happy Birthday a Christian song or non-Christian?
Ooh.
Let's classify that.
That's a really good point.
If a non-Christian wrote a song that was all about Jesus and I sang it, is it? Yeah.
Yep.
I think we're missing.
We're in on
That's
that.
not even really the argument. It's like, what is the singer doing? What is the heart of the person singing?
Exactly. Yeah. And so some of our some of our people are they're playing around town and they're putting out music and I love it. I'm all for it because they're amazing people and they're living their life in a way that in the church or outside of the church reflects Jesus and it's fun. But so to answer your question, like other things that we're doing, I don't know. I mean, I just try to be faithful and I just try to encourage people toward Jesus and directing them toward Jesus, making it all about Jesus all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what are some of those things, like you say, like, here's some of the things I always tell, those worship leaders. Are there some of those things that you're constantly, here's foundationally where we are as a community and as a team.
Yeah.
Here's some of the ways I'm encouraging them to make this more than just a song or make this more than just a week. That's my thing right now. I hate it when people say we're just coming to church.
Yeah.
We're just on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
It's just another song. It's
Yeah.
just this song we sing 100 times.
It's just the first song, and people are still filtering in, so
it's
they
the
really
throwaway,
aren't there
yeah.
yet.
Right.
So
I'm
the
like,
real songs are like
I
the
know.
second, third,
It's like
fifth song.
it's like the F word to me right now. I'm like, I hate it. I'm like, stop saying just. Like,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's just get out of here.
Yeah.
You've said it like 10 times.
I know.
in the last 30 seconds.
I have. That's true. To prove a point.
Okay.
But what are some of those things that that
Yeah.
you're saying, like, this is where I continue to find myself, the things I keep saying or the leadership perspectives that I'm coming from?
Yeah. One thing I like to always say is read the room. And so sometimes like churches will be like, we need a drummer. Like, could you have a drummer that could come play? And a lot of times we do for whatever reason. We have so many drummers. It's insane. Like, I feel like that's a whole other topic. I don't understand it. But sometimes what I want to say is like, do you need a drummer? Like, for us at Summit, it's read the room. And so like maybe right now we just need a little acoustic little vibe, and like let's just get up there with a cup of coffee and say, hey, good morning. Like, we're just going to sing some songs, and it's not about this whole huge band and everything. And so I guess just knowing the room, because people are going to walk in with heavy, heavy burdens. Some people are going to walk in feeling great. They're like, I'm going to the lake after this, and this is a great day, and God is so good. And so being able to just kind of read that, I think, is a big thing. Yeah. And then not getting tied to, and this is something I'm the most guilty of ever, is getting tied to a structure of like a song or of a service. Like you mentioned, like, well, the first song, it's like people are still filtering in, and we create these like systems and these an equation where it's like we do a fast song, then we do a medium song, then we do a slow song, and the fast song's a praise song, and the medium song's a whatever this song, and the slow song's a surrender song or whatever, and you put these kind of equations together to try to get people to worship, and it's like, what are we talking about? So I guess just listening to the Spirit and reading the room and seeing where people are, I think is really important.
Yeah, super good. I love how everything that I'm picking up as you talk about that is really just about that connection of people. I think it's so easy for what we do too, and music is maybe even heightened with that, because here's a song and we just sing the song, and it can be about doing that really well. There's so many things within that we need to worry about? Are we keeping tempo? Are we on pitch? Are we playing the right notes? Did this break go? Do we need to repeat this? That it could just be so easy to get caught up into that, to forget like, oh, there's people involved with this, right?
Yeah, and those people, like, I mean, maybe the people who are even listening right now, they have no idea what a click track is.
Yeah.
They have no idea.
Unless somebody's ears are too loud and they can hear it in the quiet moment.
Exactly, yeah, that's very true. But Grant, who's our lead pastor, love that guy. I mean, I don't know another person who is less musical than him. But sometimes he surprises me. He'll like sing a harmony on accident.
That's me. Like I'll do like a fake falsetto, and my buddy will be like, "Dude, that
was actually kinda good.
I don't know how I did that or what is happening right there."
But so like Grant, he doesn't know all the ins and outs. Like he just wants you to lead him in worship, you know, and like. Now
that's most people like in a setting like that.
Exactly, yeah. And so and I think that a lot of like times today in like the worship world or just the worship world, it's like this. We gotta like nail this thing. Well, of course we gotta nail this thing. We want to nail this thing because it's the living God that we're worshiping and we're leading people. Like we want to bring our best to God, but also like how are we leading these people the best right now? Toward God. And so
super good, because I find myself doing that even in preaching. Like I'll work on a message, and it's so easy for me to be like, I want this to be well flowed, well designed. I want my jokes to land. I want people to get my points to be remembered. And then it's like, oh, but there's people associated with this. And I remember, vividly as a youth pastor, kind of being in the trenches. You talk about camp and stuff. It'd be like, oh, I know this is gonna hit with Joe. Yeah. Like I know that kid is going to need this. And so then I get into that. And for me, it's so easy just to get distracted from that at times, to forget like, no, this is to help people find and follow Jesus, to change people's lives, to glorify God, to help our community, to continue to spread what Jesus is doing. Yeah. And so I think a lot of times for whoever it is, whatever we're doing following Jesus, it's easy to forget the impact of other people and how we need to do that.
Well, and at the end of the day, so the other day, we got struck by lightning.
Yeah, I was texting you.
Our building.
That storm, that hardcore storm.
That crazy storm.
On last Friday?
Yeah.
Or a couple of weeks ago?
Last Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, last Tuesday. And I don't really know how that works. I don't know electricity or lightning or a Vista or anything, but somehow electricity got through our building, and it fried a lot of stuff, and so a lot of technology, and so that day, that next Wednesday, well, first of all, we didn't even know that happened until like little by little. It was like the internet's down. Okay, let's look at that, and then it was like maybe we should check some other things, and it was just like just things were bad. But what had happened is a tree got hit. We also found out it lit on fire. Got a voicemail from the fire department that's like, hey, just want to let you know, we came put a fire out on your property, and we put some red tape up. So, this tree was exploded. There was bark everywhere in the parking lot. There was like 10-foot long pieces of tree that had launched like 45 feet. It was insane. I would have loved to see it. Anyway, so me and my team we're evaluating, assessing. We have youth group that night, so we're like, maybe we need to try to get stuff going. But the cool thing is, we could have freaked out. But at the end of the day, we all just knew that like, hey, if everything's broken, it doesn't matter, because we're gonna open up the Bible at youth group tonight. We can get an acoustic guitar. We're gonna sit around. Like, God is still the same, and we don't need this technology. Yes, we get to use this technology, and that's awesome. But like, it's the same God. And so I think that was a cool moment for our team, even just to get there together.
Yeah. I think for me, one of the things, as far as just like a worship leader and even band members and even speaking, is just that, is there genuineness? Like, is it from the gut, like deep down in this moment, or is it just we're doing another thing?
Right.
So like sometimes stripping away the technology or the production factor goes, well, all we have left is my genuine heart or my not so genuine heart in this moment, and it's really more transparent, because you can hide behind some lights and some production and some louder, music and some effects and all that kind of stuff, and you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, is it the Holy Spirit, or is it just like cool effects?
Yep.
And people nailing notes, which are all fun and important.
Yeah.
And that can be just as genuine. I'm not saying it's not, but it's always got to, as a speaker, it's got to come from the gut, like deep in the heart, and to think about, usually hypothetical people, like, okay, if they showed up and they were someone's relative and there's their best friend and they were resistant to hearing about the Jesus and what Jesus could do in their life, like just my heart for them, compassion, empathy. Jesus all the time would show up and have compassion for people, have empathy for people, and the disciples would be like, "You're busy. Don't get distracted by people. Why are you stopping? Like, get these kids out of here. And we have a business. We have a set list to go through. We have a service to put on, and we have a thing." And they're like, Jesus is like, "Nope, this is my thing." So managing all of that is tricky. Yeah, it really is always a tension.
It is.
So let's switch gears a little bit. You guys could riff on this, but like you'd mentioned earlier, like being a new dad in the last year or so, and now you got number 2.
Yep.
How has that helped you with just following Jesus and perspective? You mentioned a little bit, giving you a little more insight on your folks, but also just, how's that helped you as a Jesus follower, having kids?
Yeah, I mean, there's all the stereotypical things of just the heart of a father, but it's real. Like, it's real. Like, I genuinely think I understand Jesus' heart more now. I'm like getting a little teary-eyed right now. Like, I wish he was here. Well, Jesus and my son, but
Knox.
But I feel like I understand his heart for me more now that I have I have a son, and it's insane. Just you've never felt a love like it, and I also don't want to over glorify it, because I mean having kids is not like the end all be all or the answer, and but it's a huge blessing and a gift, and it's insane. How has it helped my relationship with God? As far as spending time with Jesus, it's absolutely ruined that. I'm like barely waking
messes
up.
with the schedule.
Yeah. Although for me, I've tried a few years ago. I tried to. Because for me, we've talked a lot the last few weeks about our phones on the podcast. I don't know why. For me, I'd always wake up,
because they're an issue for all of us in our lives. So that's why.
So I would turn over, check my email, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever. And so I just made a commitment. Hey, the first thing I'm going to do on my phone every day is read the Bible. Before anything else, that's what I want my phone to be about. So for me, my first time reading the Bible now is like at 5 a.m. when I'm feeding my daughter, instead of like at 9 a.m. So for me, I'm like, literally, I got one hand and I'm like reading the Bible. Yeah. So that's been earlier for me, which is nice.
That's great.
And then,
my days go better. I gotta beat those kids up out of bed. You know what I mean? I gotta have some time, but it's harder. Like Amy and I get up before our kids. Yeah. And then we hear them stomping around like, God, it's way too early. Go back to bed. Why are you up?
I've been thinking about that.
It's summer. I know the sun's up for 2 hours, but go back to sleep.
I've been thinking about that because my wife and I have been married for 13 years.
Wow.
And so 12 of those years, just the two of us. It's like,
just the two of us.
We sleep in.
Oh, dude, don't you realize how selfish you like?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so I'm like, this is different. What's it gonna? I'm trying to think of like what our new normal. I mean, we're a month in.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's weird. Like I got up the other day at I think 6 to feed her, and it was Sunday because I had to be at church. I think my alarm was set for 7, and I got up at like 5:30. I finished feeding her at 6, and I'm like, there's no point in going back to bed now. Yeah. And I'm like, am I a morning guy now? Do I have to be? Like, I'm just gonna stay up for church and go to church. I got there early, and
it's insane the things that I think about. I think about how selfish I was. Not really, but you just don't realize now how selfless you have to be, and like just the smallest things ever. Where it's just like, well, I can't do that now. Like I don't, golf. Like I've golfed. Anyway, it's not a pity party, but I just have golfed so much less than this year, and it's fine.
We'll just stop and pray for you right now.
It's fine. I'm doing fine.
You okay? I'm all right. I'm fine. No, you're fine. No, I'm
great.
fine.
I'm just cleaning.
Scott's trying to help me golf more.
Yeah,
I've golfed once.
Scott's just trying to be a friend, not
getting
in the middle of anybody's marriage business.
But
or
you
trying
have
to
kids, so you get it. But like my friends without kids are like, "What do you mean you can't golf on Saturday?" I'm like, What do you mean? What do you mean? I got a family now. Like,
when and my kids are in school, so like Saturday morning, like that's the one morning of the entire week where it's just kids. Us, and if we're not trying to be crazy, people aren't doing basketball or whatever. Yeah, it's
and for Saturdays have been sacred for us forever because my wife works a full-time job and she works on Fridays and I don't, and that's kind of been my day. But
now it's
me and daddy-daughter time.
You got any crazy blowouts?
Not really crazy yet. I mean, a little bit.
Oh. Yeah, but, and then once you get to the public places, you were at or a friend's house, you're like, we have to leave now.
Or the bathtub. That happened finally.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Knox pooped in the bathtub.
Nice.
Thank God I wasn't there.
Are you at the stage where you're taking pictures? Your wife grossed out. And
Oh
you're
no,
just like,
she sent me a photo. Yeah.
We've had a couple.
The first few, you're like, oh, this is cute fun, and then you're like, this is
come on.
tiring.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
We've had a couple of changing table disasters, right? Like
Yeah.
you're in the middle of the changing, that it's like, really? So like I got like a system now to try to get it like, okay, are you done before we go? Because there was a couple that was like straight from the changing table, throw everything in the laundry and go to the bath.
Yep.
Right.
It is.
It's a fun adventure.
We talked about this a few weeks ago, but it is so weird. Like they've done nothing for you yet. I mean, my daughter's a month old. She's literally done nothing other than be adorable.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I couldn't love you anymore. And
Do you feel attached to her yet? Like I know you do to some level.
like in what context?
Well,
Like,
so I'll just like for me, like it seemed like Knox didn't really need me. Like, sure, I could be helpful or whatever, but like for the first month or two, it's like, dude, it's just like get him to his mom, be as helpful as you can. But then I remember the moment where it's like, oh, I think you like me now. Like, oh, are we buddies? You know, like, and it was like, oh, this is what it's about. Because right away, as a dad, sometimes you feel a little. You're just like, I don't know, like, you know, like in Fiji or whatever, but I feel like I just need their mom.
she doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yet. So it's just like, like last night. Yesterday was a pretty rough day for my wife. Just constant, like, hungry, fussy. And so, like, I get home, my wife's exhausted, and, hey, I'll try to help, and I can help a little bit. And then my wife tried to go to bed early so she could get sleep, and she was just not having it. Yeah. She was hungry, and so like I'm heating up milk, and like she's wailing, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I'm getting your food ready, and so my wife comes back out of the bedroom like, you good? I'm like, yeah, it's warming up, and then I'm kind of mad at my wife. I got it. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's awesome, and she's getting there. Like again, every day she's getting a little bit, so she's tracking a little bit more, but yeah, she doesn't know who I am yet.
But it's one of those things, but now there's a couple more people on the list of like, nope, I would die for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? I mean, back to like understanding God, going, nope, yeah, everybody's on that list. Not everybody's on my list because I'm not God. But there's a couple more now on the list of like, if you need a pancreas, I'm your guy. Like whatever, like I would give my life for you, like without having to think about it. You know, it's the crazy part.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful, beautiful adventure being a dad and having kids. Yep. They get older, they're still hungry at night and cranky, and they cry. It's just different. And you're like, why are you eating at dinner? It's 9:50 at night. Like, go to bed. Like, I'm hungry. Like, yeah.
But like, you guys are both friends with your dads now, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, I'd hang out with him.
Not really.
He's
He's not on this week. We're going ziplining on Saturday for his 70th
Where are you
birthday.
going? Up at
Micah Moon?
Liberty Lake. Yeah, I did that once.
Did you?
Really fun.
Was it good?
It was good.
Okay.
I'm just gonna I'm gonna go public with something that I did. I need to confess.
You already did with the pregnancy.
I know, that's
boy,
true. That's true. So we
great.
did that. We did that for my friend's bachelor party. And I go into like the room where they get you all set up and stuff, and then they have to weigh you in. Well, at that point I was way heavier than I am right now, and I was like, I think I might pee too much.
Oh, there's a maximum.
Yeah, there's a max. Yeah. And so on the scale, there's a scale, and you have to step on the scale. Well, right in front of the scale is a table, just like a 6-foot folding table. So I step on the scale.
You took a little weight off.
I put my hands on the table, and it's like, oh, the limit is like, this number. And I was like, oh, wow, I'm 2 pounds under that. That's crazy. And then the whole time I'm freaking out because I'm like,
I'm going to break it.
Am I going to die? Like, just to come to this bachelor
the cable's
party?
And you're going to go flying across the canyon.
Dude, yeah, but it's so fun. It's really fun. The last one is really cool.
It's the big one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they take you up in quad or side by sides, like, and you're just mopping up the mountain and stuff. Yeah. So fun.
We got 15 of us going for. He turned 70 last month.
Wow.
So we've been planning this, and then my birthday was on Tuesday, so we kind of got a fun adventure plan with the whole family.
It's a blast.
Oh, that's what I've heard from a ton of people, so I'm excited.
I golf with my dad every week. We're golfing partners, and we hang out all the time. So
I
had that conversation with my wife too. Like, to think that my parents did this for us, right? They went through this, and that's the goal, is that they want to hang out with you when you're when they have a choice.
It's weird when it hits where you're like, I remember I was like 19. I was like, oh yeah, like it's fun. I'm gonna go visit my parents. Like, this is great.
I think one of the things for me, one of the biggest like revelations that my parents like, again, when you're a teenager, you always butt heads with your parents. Every time I would run into like an old friend or someone I grew up with, without a doubt, every single one of them would always go, "How are your parents doing?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, because I had some friends that had good parents, but most of the time I didn't really think of I didn't ask that question very often, because like their parents didn't really have an impact on me. And then I thought about, those parents that I do, like, how is your mom? Like, they were so cool. Like, every one of my friends asked
That's
me that. And I was
funny.
like, oh, my parents were legit. Like, they
Yeah.
they cared about my friends and loved them well, to the fact that, like, I have one friend who comes into town. He sees my parents more often than he sees me. He makes a point to, like, go hang out at my house, and, like, his kids see my parents. Like, he was just in town, like, 2 weeks ago, and we were
Maybe
busy.
your mom's nicer than you are.
Probably.
That's
My parents
great.
are probably better at loving people than me. I would not doubt it. So,
Yeah, you probably get that a lot too about like people running to you like, "How's your brother? How's your dad?
Oh,
How's
yeah.
your like?"
Yep.
That I think that's just indicative of a family that loves each other and is following Jesus together. So that speaks like high praise and
That's a good
volume
point.
for you guys
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
You're like, what you care about my dad? Like, yeah, because you care about your dad.
Yeah.
And they see that as a significant relationship. So
Yeah.
that's one of the beautiful things about the body of Christ, right? It's
Right.
It's our biological family, but it's so much greater connectedness. You'd mentioned too, like your resting heart rate earlier, and
Yeah.
the zipline story. Like you've been on a good health journey lately.
Yep.
Yeah,
Lifestyle and health
dude.
and fitness is how I got a black eye.
Getting after it.
Yeah.
Dude, crazy. Senior year, I was at the gym. We were playing open, rec basketball, and this gal was playing with us, a classmate, and she was a go getter. She was mixing it up with all the fellas, and I accidentally got a rebound, came down, clocked her right in the eye.
No.
It was like 2 weeks before prom.
There's nothing worse than hurting a girl.
Oh, I felt so bad.
Yep.
And she was like, "No, it's fine." She knows.
Yeah.
But she had this, like you, had
Yep.
this huge black eye
Oh.
in prom pictures. I'm like, "I'm so sorry." That's like
That
forever.
guy, it was
I was
him.
like, that guy.
You ever accidentally hurt your wife? It's the
Yes.
worst.
Oh, yeah.
It's the worst.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I've
my
never
wife still
felt
tells
more
a story
small.
about, like, I was having a dream, I think, and I was falling or something. I reach up and just clocked her in the
Oh,
face in the
no.
middle of the night.
Oh,
right?
gosh.
And just actually, when we were dating, we were building that. I think it was maybe with the Claires, maybe your brother. We were doing like a Habitat for Humanity thing, and I'm hitting a hammer, and she's handing me stuff, and I whacked her in the face with the hammer. Like early
the worst.
dating.
It's the
Yeah.
worst feeling.
Get
Yeah.
bloody nose, everything. Yeah.
Or your kid, like you
Oh.
hurt your kid, like
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah. Because you'll experience, like the boys want to wrestle.
Yep. Oh,
So
yeah.
we wrestle. Well,
Already.
they need to wrestle. They need to prove some strength, see if they're. So you got to push back. My wife doesn't always understand. Like, I'm like, boys are different. Like, you have to, like, punch each other,
Yeah.
not out of anger or aggression, but they want to know if they're strong.
Yeah.
We need to wrestle. And she's like, you got to stop that. I'm like, kind of, but not
Yeah,
really.
but we're-
Yeah, we need to. So I was putting them to bed the other night, and I was like, I'm going to kick your butt. Because this week a 42-year-old's going to kick your butt, and then tomorrow a 43-year-old's going to kick your butt. Like, we're just making
That's
this
awesome.
joke. And so they literally showed up my birthday night. Like, Dad, you got to kick our butt. You're 43 now. Like,
That's
okay.
hilarious.
And Amy doesn't get it. She's
Your
like,
son's got a good golf swing.
yeah.
Really good.
He's gotten us into golf.
Way better than me.
Way better than me.
Way better swing than me.
So Blake is what got us golfing.
Really? Yeah.
So when he was 4, he wanted a golf set from Walmart.
Yeah.
So he got the plastic little cart, and he swung, and we were like, dear Lord, that's from Jesus.
Natural, yeah.
And so we've just been crafting it. And then that next year we met up with the same buddies at So Blake.
Yeah.
And so then he thought golf was like you just leave the house in the cart, drive, get 2-3 holes in, go back, get a snack.
Yeah.
And then like, can we go back out and like do this whole thing? Like that's not how it
goes.
goes.
Yeah.
It's really expensive, and you have
Yep.
to show you have to play like 9.
Yeah.
So yeah, he just wrapped up junior tournament. And
Wow.
He's balling.
It's my not biggest regret. I mean, I have way more regrets, but one of my regrets is not playing golf in high school. Like, what is What is
Yeah.
throwing the shot put going to get me as an adult? Nothing. I could have got good at golf then. So then, yeah.
Like you can golf till you're in your 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, right. My son is high school golfing again, starting in August here in a few weeks, and $75 athletic fee. You golf all you want. Like, let's do that.
Have to. Yeah.
Right.
That's so fun.
Well, we got to get you. We'll put you maybe on the golf text line here.
Dude.
Maybe see if we can't get you a few
Please.
more rounds in
Please.
the midst of
Yep.
understanding the schedule.
I know.
get all that. Absolutely.
No, my wife's super great. She knows that. Like, I love it. So she allows me to go sometimes. But
Yeah, it's a long time.
yeah.
No joke about it. Like, I went golfing. It's 6 hours.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
By the time you leave the house, do everything, come back, it's a long
It's a
time.
day. Yeah.
Has that been part of your health journey, getting out golfing?
Yeah, actually, it was. Because before we had a kid, I golfed a lot, and I chose to walk. And
Okay.
yeah, once Knox was born, like this is funny. I was sitting in a rocking chair holding my newborn, and then I went to stand up, and the rocking chair is moving, and I'm very, very, just unhealthy, and I'm like, I can't stand up. I'm like wobbling, you know. And I was like, what am I doing? You know, like I want to be able to go on hikes and wrestle and get down on the same level as my kids and, you know, do these things. And so then I literally just, it's like,
That was it. You just
Make it
decided.
happen.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's
Way
crazy.
to go.
Yeah. And
Having
so-
one of those moments, you're like, nope, not going to do this.
Yeah, not worth it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So it's still a
Very
struggle,
cool.
man. Don't get me wrong. I love pizza. And
Yeah. Donuts. I
Yeah,
love donuts,
but,
milkshakes.
Yeah. But I do that.
Absolutely.
I do eat that stuff still, and I just
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not
I
all-
always
every
say
day in the whole pizza.
exactly. Yeah. I always say you got to have more of a holistic approach
Yeah.
to life. Yeah. If you ever on a health thing where you use I never and I always,
Yeah.
not going to work.
That's smart.
It's not going to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, and we talked.
I never eat ice cream. Yeah, I do. I eat ice
I
cream.
love ice cream
Yeah.
so much, dude.
all the time. I just less and moderate
Yeah.
it, and
Yeah.
I always do this. Like,
We
No.
talked about that like when because I did the same thing. I went on a
Yeah,
I lost
yeah,
quite a
for
bit of
sure you
weight.
did,
and
yeah.
It
yeah.
was.
I was thinking Brent came back from camp, right? And he's like, I'll beat him, and he's been working out more and stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yep, you gotta stay healthy. I was just thinking,
Yeah.
unhealthy Kyle would come back and just be
sick.
Oh,
'cause
after
you're-
camp?
Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
come back
your body
and
would
be
be
so
so
my body
running.
just didn't know how to react.
Yep.
I'd get sick every year.
Same.
And then I was just like, oh yeah, it's just what it is. And then I got healthy, and I was like, I can actually be well after camp. Scott's like, yeah, welcome to like
hilarious.
not.
You're tired.
You're,
I mean, you're
tired and
fatigued.
beat, but I wasn't
Yeah.
like literally. I would be
You'd be
sick,
sick.
Yep.
and I'd be out for 2 days.
Migraines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but I remember having this conversation. It's like I'm not going on a diet. I'm just changing my lifestyle.
Yeah.
I'm changing my relationship with food was a big one, but I'm not dieting. I'm not going like no carbs for 6 months because then it's just going to be like after that 6 months I'm going to be like my diet's changed. I'm changing the way that I interact with food and what it's my lifestyle's changing. Not I'm dieting. I think that's why diets don't work.
Yeah.
and having an awesome like motivation, a why.
Yeah.
You know, for kids
Yeah.
and just for your whole family and for
Yeah.
you know, hopefully a few more decades here of
Yeah.
hanging out, going ziplining.
Exactly.
With the boys going golfing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we did Tuesday night. My boys and I golfed. My daughter caddied for me. She
Yeah.
pushed the cart. We
So
walked,
fun.
right?
Yeah.
She got the clubs. Then she was like, Dad, can I play this hole? I'm like,
Absolutely.
you like golf
Yeah.
too? Let's go.
Family affair.
She might do golf. I was like, yes.
You got to force them. You and the 3 kids.
That would be
it's so
so
fun.
so good. Anyways, appreciate you being on. We're just kind of
Yeah.
laying the plane here. We just
Yep.
always just like, well, and
No, I love it. I
laying
love
the
it,
plane.
yeah.
Appreciate you being on the
Yeah.
podcast, sharing about your adventures and finding
Yeah.
Jesus. And again, I think your story is awesome. That your family and you choosing to follow Jesus and
Yeah, thanks.
doing the great work you're doing, leading
Yeah.
people in music and developing worship leaders. And if you're listening and you don't have a home church, you're not connected, Summit Church is an awesome place. We almost joined forces a couple years
Savage, I
ago
know.
as a team
I know.
and paired
Yeah.
up as a church.
I had lunch with Grant on Tuesday.
Oh, really?
Monday.
Oh, fun.
Monday. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you're up on the South Hill, you in Spokane, Washington,
And
USA,
U District, you guys still roll
Yeah,
in U
yeah,
District?
we still have our campus in the U District. Yep.
Gonzaga area.
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah, it's super
absolutely.
fun. Yeah.
And so, thanks for being on the podcast, sharing your
course.
story. We enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll get you out golfing here, maybe
Dude, I
get a
want
little
to
tea
so
time or
bad,
two.
please. That's all I want to do right now since we've been talking about this.
And the weather is
I know.
beautiful. It's warmer. The ball is flying like
Yeah.
a club better.
Oh.
Everyone is like, it's a club better. It's so good. Makes you
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
you're
Let's-
Rory or something.
Let's stop.
McElroy, not your dad.
McElroy. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Thanks, guys.
have a great week following Jesus. We'll talk with you next time.